How's it going, folks? Welcome to my office. It is a 8335R John Deere tractor, and I am pulling an 1194 Brent grain cart. It's harvest season. We're out here picking corn, and there's a few things I just wanted to talk about real quick that is, about the logistical issues we're going to be running into with both corn and soybeans. How this will probably impact all of us. Yeah, sorry about the background noise, but this is what I have to listen to all day. So I guess you just have to suffer with me. Or, I mean, you can click off the video. I can't stop you. Or can I? Here in the United States, corn is king. It is the largest crop by far that we produce, and it isn't even close. However, most of our corn is actually used internally. It is mostly animal feed and as ethanol, as well as some industrial products, but that's kind of on the margins. So, soybeans. Why do we grow soybeans? Well, there's quite a few reasons. First and foremost, it is a pretty useful crop. It's found in a whole host of food products. We can make biodiesel out of it. It's really easy to store for years if need be. And it's pretty good animal protein. About half of all soybeans were meant for the export market. And soybeans are also legumes, which means they can naturally fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and turn it into a usable molecule in the soil for plants to uptake as food. This is why you will see soybeans put into a corn rotation. On our farm, a lot of the time we will do corn on corn, then soybeans, and then corn on corn, then soybeans again, because the soybeans will naturally put fertilizer into the soil. It will lower your fertilizer costs, and there are added benefits to soybeans, such as soil management practices, as well as just different tillage practices. It can mellow out the soil. It's good for disease control. There are just a whole host of benefits that make planting soybeans in your crop rotation very beneficial. And now that soybeans are unprofitable, a lot of people are going to be transitioning to just doing corn on corn on corn, which means we're going to need more artificial fertilizer. But this is a two-front problem. So if you get rid of soybean acres, you remove that productive capacity for nitrogen, and you're adding corn, which means you're going to have corn that needs more fertilizer. Oh, and there's going to be more acres of corn because people are switching from soybeans to corn. Did no one in leadership contemplate this? Have we seen the federal government make any moves to expanding fertilizer production in anticipation of this clearly obvious thing that they caused? I haven't read anything about that. Now, it is quite possible that a lot of farmers will just choose to use less fertilizer, but that will mean either taking more fertilizer out of the soil than your soil program would call for, or it will mean just smaller yields, so you're just wasting your time and resources. It's just stupidity. Well, you definitely want to be upwind of that giant pile of fertilizer, we'll call it, from the feedlot. The other big issue to be concerned with is storage. So last year we produced a little over 14 billion bushels of corn and a little over 4 billion bushels of soybeans. However, because you produce 2.5 to 3 times the amount of corn per acre than you do with soybeans, if we were to say reduce our production of soybeans by 1 billion to try to keep them somewhat break even, you're talking about increasing the corn production by 2.5 to 3 billion bushels. That means an increase in the total supply of grain by like 10%. We can't store that. Not to mention, half the soybeans we produced were put on boats almost immediately and sent overseas. We didn't store it to begin with. So where are we supposed to put all of this grain? And furthermore, what's going to use all this grain? Because we also have one of the lowest cattle populations we've seen in decades. the foreign market for our corn supplies have gone down for the aforementioned trade war. So, what's the plan here? There isn't a plan. Now, because you can't keep a topic simple or isolated, we have to talk a little bit about animal agriculture here for a second. Because corn is so dependent upon livestock, the fact that we are at our lowest livestock herds in decades is going to create quite the problem, because what's going to consume all of this corn? You have to also remember the other big consumer of corn is ethanol. Its major byproduct is distiller's grain, which again is more animal feed, but ethanol is now tied closely to the energy sector, and the price of energy is going down because the Saudis are trying to run American fracking oil into unprofitability, while at the same time construction is down because government has started cutting all of these infrastructure projects nationwide. We barely saw the price of gas get anywhere close to $3.20 this summer. It should have gotten close to almost $4 if we were actually doing construction, which by all accounts looks like it never happened. So what are we going to do with all of this corn? We could export it? No, there's a trade war on all of that too. So right now, we are at one of our lowest populations for our livestock herds in decades. And we have the processing infrastructure for far more animals than we have right now, which means the United States, in order to utilize this processing capacity, should be importing animals, but we can't. And because we can't, we're underutilizing those resources. And why can't we import them? There's a tariff. We cannot utilize our country to its full potential because of a political decision made by people who are not well informed on this industry. And because we are consuming our own domestic herd at an unsustainable rate, the price at the grocery store is going to continue to increase. And yeah, I guess the rancher might see some higher wages out of this, but in the long term, that won't be the case, because eventually the entire industry will collapse. So we need to import animals in order to allow domestic producers to increase their animal herds. But that can't happen because of all of the economic decisions that have been taken out of the farmers' hands. And what is the government's plan here? Do they have a plan to rebuild the herds? Nope, nothing posted on the USDA website about it. Do they have targeted goals? Anything in mind of what they want to do, how they plan to do it, how they plan to pay for it, how they plan to get ranchers to sign off on any of this? And if the ranchers don't increase their herds, then the farmer is going to lose money because there'll be nothing to eat our grain, because we also can't export it to the animals overseas because, again, there's a trade war, which we started. None of this makes any sense. It's always important to remember, farmers are price takers. We have monopsonies on one side and monopolies on the other. We do not get to dictate what our commodity prices cost or what our input costs are set at. I'm not even necessarily saying we have to rebuild the animal herds. If we're ready to take that plunge away from animal agriculture, okay, fine. What are we doing to replace all of this protein? Do we have the processing plants under construction for plant-based alternatives? If so, where are they? And why haven't you told anybody? Have we begun a massive retooling effort in order for farmers to grow the inputs that we need to do this transition? Does anyone have a plan? Has anyone even discussed any of this? Because if we continue down this current trajectory, we are going to run very low on beef. We won't be able to import them. All of these processing facilities, which are large employers, I might add, in the areas that they are found in, as well as logistical nodes, are going to collapse, which is going to add even further stress onto the rural economies. So what's the plan here? Who's the decision maker? Who is coming up with this strategy? What is the strategy? I would really like to know, because if we don't have a use for all of this grain, one, it's massively wasteful, and two, it's just going to be a bigger supply next year and a lower cost. And perpetual bailouts don't exactly seem like a strategy that can work long term. I mean, yeah, subsidies here and there to help us cope with the weather is one thing, but to never have markets, to have nothing in the works with our largest trading partners, this is a level of risk and insanity that I did not think was possible in the 21st century. We have so much historical information that shows that everything we are doing right now makes no sense. Well, folks, I think that's enough ramblings about logistics for now. This video was an interesting thing to put together as it was done completely in the field, and I did not exactly master in video editing. So if you like this, I might make more. Just let me know down in the comments, and until next time, have a good one.